Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching GEEKCASTER. How you guys doing?
I'm doing great.
Michael. And today we got virtually in the studio.
Yo, Boombox Dayveonne Bussey.
Man without a plan, Corey Davis.
Sailor Leone.
Oh, she timed it perfect. Her face popped up right there. All right, so we're going to talk about PC computer, Mac computer unboxings. We are going to talk about Funko Pops. Also, what is your favorite black villain and why? So that's this episode. So let's start out with Dayveonne Bussey, and he just picked up a PC. He's very happy about it. I believe he has it over his shoulder right there. It's an HP. Tell us a little bit about it.
It is an HP Envy, which I'm using right now.
I have that too.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
And it's a 17.3 inches. Plus, it's a 4K screen and touchscreen.
That's what I have too.
Oh, she has it too.
That's
And
nice.
so, and do anybody have any questions regards to the computer that I got?
Yeah, why'd you get that one in particular? What was it about?
It was pretty much the design, and also from what I was doing research on, the Core i7. The speakers are awesome. I ain't gonna lie.
Okay.
It's really good. Also, I like the fact that I can touch screen, so I can zoom in and tap there, tap there. Okay, no stop. But a lot of pros with this computer. Like, you can play video games on it. You can do your daily tasks. You can do video editing software, audio editing software, or do podcasts like what I'm doing right now.
Yes.
Okay.
And she has the laptop as well.
You have it as well. So
I
what's your
love that
take
you
on
can
it?
Flip it.
Okay.
And tablet mode, like being able to just like move your laptop where you want to. If you draw, that's definitely helpful because you can flip it backwards and fold it together. Actually, so it's just a tablet as well.
Well, yeah, my eyes doesn't do that.
Oh, whoops.
It's okay. I prefer this as well.
That's one thing as a Mac guy. I really wish they had something that does that because that comes in handy. But then if you have an iPad, then why do you need a laptop then if it does that too? I guess. That's pretty cool.
I get the convenience factor because I have a Mac as well. But I'm still satisfied with my Mac and everything that it does. I don't need to touch it. It looks pretty by itself.
The screen is so.
No, don't get me wrong. I'm a Mac guy as well, but it was just that for a person that's not trying to hurt their pockets, this would be a better solution or a better option compared to getting a Mac, which is $25 to $30 something $100.
Well, so I have a video up of me unboxing the MACBOOK Pro, and I have to say, it's a hustle, but it works. Their packaging is so sexy.
Yes.
It is so on point. It just feels really good. I don't know if they put like crack in it. I don't know. But when I lift up the laptop, and you could see when you guys see this feed and those watching the feed live, it is so thin that, am I going to break this thing? When you open the box, it literally just have a cord and the power cord. And I'm like, man, I paid all this money. Doesn't it come with like a car or, something, an action figure or something like that? But no, it doesn't. So, but it's powerful. It's
How
powerful.
much was it?
It was a lot. Yeah. You know. But I have to say, even when I'm doing this unboxing, if you notice, there's a laptop next to it, and I've had that one for 13 years, and it still works. So this is where, when people say, why buy a Mac? Because it lasts, I don't know anyone with a PC that has had a PC for that long.
Longer than 5 or 7 years.
Yeah, tops. So, but anyway, it felt really light. So I said, you know what? I got to get a case. And I ended up getting, I have this here. Ended up getting the UAG. UAG products seem to be really cool. And it fit really nice. And you could see when it's coming up there. Hold on, let me see. Let's see here. I'll fast forward this a little bit, but super thin, but it felt really strong. Had a lot of vents for air, and I was surprised of not only how rugged and how the corners seemed to be really protected, but it was super thin too. So a lot of times you think heavy duty has to be thick. So anyway, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. I'm enjoying it, and we'll see. We'll see.
And you always have to ask about the cons about the computers,
right?
So people don't get this high expectation, and then and it's not for everybody. Like my computer, there is cons. Like it's not disk based. Like you can't put a CD or a DVD, and that's because we're starting to be moving into an era where it's not reliable no more. We don't use those things at this point.
Well, also, it brings down... Well, it technically didn't bring down the price, which it should bring down the price, but it was a way to not make the prices higher. It's also a way to get thinner laptops because you don't need all that space. You don't have a moving drive to spin the disk. So, and also it's another way to stop the overheating. So I get it, but I don't like the fact that now I have to get an external CD drive if you want to use that.
Really, here's another thing about the Mac that's what made me avoid the Mac now a little bit. Was the fact that everything is what's the piece that you had to use? It's called a Fire or what? The one's like that's a substitute for the USB, the CUSB.
Oh, the lightning rod.
Yeah, you have to get a opponent. It's like I feel as though Apple banks on you buying all these accessories to basically plug into the computer.
Oh yeah,
that's a huge problem with Apple. But my thing is, I have an older MacBook as well, so it's a 2012, and I got it secondhand, so I didn't pay full price. But I also changed out the internal. I got a 1 terabyte solid state drive for like $60. If you yeah, so if you know how to work on computers with especially a MacBook, it's very, very simple. You just get the tool off Amazon, you change it out, and it lasts. The only true con that I can see with MacBooks, especially the newer ones and the thinner ones, is you have to stay updated. If you don't update as well, you could run into issues. I don't have that issue of owning an older MacBook, so I can see like where your decision lies. Do I want a newer computer? If I do, you have to stay up to date and stay locked in with constantly updating, or get an older one, not sure if it works, don't know what happened to it, don't know what the user before did to it. So it's things you have to think about with every laptop.
Right.
Well, let's do this, folks. Let's go to television and the movies. Let's talk about our favorite villains, specifically our favorite black villains, because a lot of times the black villains don't get a lot of love. Now, one of my favorite villains is Joker, but I like me some Cottonmouth. Gotta like me some Cottonmouth. He's up there for me. So, what do you guys think? Who's your favorite villain represented in either the TV series or film world?
dun, dun.
Think
Dun,
alike.
dun, dun.
Think alike. Yes.
Dun, dun, dun. Killmonger.
Yes.
Okay, so both
Well,
of you for Killmonger.
Yep. Reason
Okay.
why I say Killmonger.
Wait. Before we go into that, we have to let the lady go next. What's hers?
What's your favorite? So there.
She might not be there. What's happening? What's happening there? All right, so let's go through Killmonger. Why do you like Killmonger as your favorite?
The reason why, because of his message. It wasn't so much of what he did, it's pretty much what his statement was. And every villain has to have a statement from what they're doing, whether they express it verbally or violently.
Okay.
And his message was me being depressed. Perfect timing, which we're in a pandemic and Black Lives Matter situation with the situation. Some of the stuff that he says is basically coming to fruition. Not even coming to fruition. It was always there from the beginning. So, are we going to rise up, or are we just going to be like Black Panther and just kind of do it the diplomatic way?
Okay, and Corey, you? What are you thinking?
He has the same exact notes that I have. Exactly what I was going to say. The truthfulness of Killmonger is being seen the more we are alive, and every day it just gets stronger and stronger. The representation of the Black community, and especially his statement as a character, not just wanting to be so selfish and like, oh, poor me, I want to change me and change my situation. He was thinking about a cultural standpoint. He needs to do this for us, not just for himself. And so he started this whole revolutionary movement that is only being reciprocated in society today.
Okay. All right. Well, interesting. I can't take anything away from what you said in general, but let me say mine before I hit you with something. All right. So I say Cottonmouth just because you saw the social dynamic there. You saw the trying to be somebody coming up in the hood. Kind of the same dynamics that Killmonger was fighting against, right? Which is great. And it kind of, but you saw he was so dark. Like, I didn't fear some of the other Black villains that were out there. They were very comical. So I think that Cottonmouth did that really well. As well as there were so many notes in other colors. Like, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he's super... You notice he's into art because you look at the background, but it was just a silent note, like a really soft. So there was more going on. There was some depth there. Then out of nowhere, he's playing the piano, which I thought was great. Now, the reason why, to me, he goes beyond like Black Manta, you kind of saw he was really shaped by his dad, right? So you get it. Then you look at... You saw the whole nerdy... was it Electro that Jamie Foxx played?
Yeah.
Right. It was kind of weak to me. It was very one-dimensional, and then all of a sudden there's a twist. Arguably, Kingpin, at least the Black version, was great, but they could have given us more. He was big. He was menacing because he was big. Unfortunately, the white version, I guess also because it was a TV series, there was a lot more depth there. Doesn't really count, but he was great. If we had the Black version in that series, then I probably would say him. And then you got Tobias. Great, but too repetitive. It almost became whiny, and the whole Uncle Ruckus kind of thing, it kind of took away from what's going on. So I say all that to say that the reason why I liked him and the reason why I mentioned those is that's the kind of reason why I can't say Killmonger, because I don't hate him. You're supposed to hate and fear a villain, as well as you can develop and say why. But I mean, Killmonger could arguably be a hero, depending what. He's not a straight up villain.
But certain things that he does, actions wise, makes him a villain. But what he was standing up for was totally okay. What he was standing for was totally heroic. But
right, so he's not a clear. That's my point. He's not a clear villain. Like, so for instance, when you have, okay, I'm just going to use Marilyn Manson. He's a villain, right? I mean, that's clear. It's very clear. It doesn't matter what the backstory is. A villain is a villain. Villain can't be. You can't identify with the villain. With the villain to the point you're like, well, he technically could be a hero, depending on what side of the fence. So this is why I don't think he makes a really good villain.
I fully disagree with that argument and logic, because we are living in the age of the anti-hero, which is the villain. The reason why Thanos was so big is because people understood him. They knew why he was doing what he did. And obviously it was terrible, but people still liked it because they understood where he was coming from. The same thing with Killmonger. People understood where he was coming from with his message and why he was doing what he was doing. It was not right whatsoever, but it was understood clearly because he was raised.
Okay, see what you just said? You see the justification for the action, but the action is clearly wrong according to whatever mores, right? So, but Killmonger, you could really argue that he was never wrong. The only thing during Black Panther film is that you might feel messed up towards Black Panther.
No. Killmonger was so hell-bent on restoring the black community that he killed other black people. I mean, he killed the black girl right in front of you. Like, he's willing to do anything.
He killed his girlfriend.
Exactly. Like, that's not.
Was she really his girlfriend?
Oh, snap. Dun, dun, dun.
Or was she really a side piece?
We don't know. Now we're filling potholes, blah, blah, blah. But the point of the matter is, you could tell he was not a good guy, even though his intentions were justified, making him the perfect anti-hero / villain.
Now,
wait a minute, would he be the perfect anti-villain?
Anti-hero.
No, wait. I think I created something new here. He's the perfect anti-villain. Dun, 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 dun.
No, then that means like Black Panther would be an anti-villain if he did everything that Killmonger did for a good reason. That's kind of weird. That doesn't make sense.
Alright, so hey guys, okay, so let's hear Leone's anti-villain.
Well, her favorite villain.
Yes.
Favorite black villain. So this, I don't know if you guys gave background. This started because I was trying to figure out who I liked better, like the villain from what's the dang show?
Black Lightning
guy. Luke Cage.
Which
and
one?
Black Lightning.
Which one from Luke Cage?
Was it the Jamaican, the witch doctor? I forgot his name. Voodoo?
Wait, no, not Shadow. That guy's not black, right?
You talk about Shades? Shades is not black.
Thank you! Yes, I'm talking about Shades!
But he's a person of color. Is he?
He is a person of color, but that's
is he now?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
No, not him. I like Lala, and I like the
Who's your favorite?
I know. I'm gonna go back with them. I need to figure out right now. Top tier villain that I like. I'm sorry, y'all. I really like Lala because like he's a whole mess. He's a whole mess, but like has redemption. Like you need to redeem. He needs to redeem himself. So I feel like he's in a very interesting place, and he played a really interesting role, especially like throughout the show.
And we're talking about Marvel villains and superhero villains. What about movies that you would
Well,
never
hold on.
expect?
Are you guys finished saying your piece on Killmonger?
I mean, you tried to come back with the anti-villain, but
I just agree to disagree. But Sailor Leone, who does your number one would be? Lala?
Okay, it's like Lala and Tobias, like as a tag team. Like, I'm sorry.
You gotta pick one.
And
it's either Mike or Ike. You can't have Mike.
Tobias really okay. I'm sticking with Lala. I feel like character development was great.
Oh wow, you threw Tobias
storyline
underneath the table real fast. Like you didn't even give him a
I'm
shot.
sorry, he's just really bad. He's just
She
really
Killmongered
bad.
him.
Like there's no and.
But that's the whole point.
But there's no endearing feelings for him. Like
That's
as
the
a villain,
point.
like,
you're not supposed
nah,
to.
I gotta
No,
feel like
but-
I feel for Bane.
You're not supposed to be loving your villain. That's the.
Yes.
In a sense, yes and a no. Like, you're supposed to love your villains.
Because they're so
It's just
bad.
like, yeah. It's just like everybody likes the Joker.
Because he's
Everybody
so
likes the Joker.
bad.
But the Joker has heavy character. This
Right,
guy,
there's no
I don't feel
redeeming
like
thing.
He had any growth in his
What you mean?
personality from
Okay.
beginning to end. I don't feel like that man changed as a person. I don't think he learned nothing. I think he was just a mob guy. So I'm just kind of like,
But that's the point of a villain.
Yeah,
but that
but
doesn't make him the best villain. That doesn't make him the best villain, though.
Like,
That's-
again, if.
you have to have some.
And
type
I'm
of
not
character
glorifying these
development
people.
at
Hold on a
times,
second.
like-
Hold on a second. I'm not glorifying these people, but I'm just giving an example. Hitler, Marilyn Manson, you know, I don't know, Jeffrey Dahmer. Those are
wait, you
villains.
said Marilyn Manson?
Yeah.
Come on.
Marilyn Manson, like
I mean-
Marilyn Manson on some Jeffrey Dahmer stuff.
No, but I'm just saying, like, Manson, sorry, Marilyn Manson. Manson, like, those individuals, if the real world was a fake world, would be the ultimate comic book villains because they're so evil. You love the fact they're so clearly evil. Once you start, you could identify intellectually, but once you identify to the point where you start feeling something for them, either something's wrong with you, and they're not that evil.
This is. I understand what you're trying to say.
Like
but-
Maleficent, right? Growing up, that story, oh, she was an evil witch. Disney flipped it on you and said, no, there's another story. She's not that evil. All of a sudden, she's not that much of a villain. Once you start painting another picture.
No, they're still villains. The whole reason why we study these psychopaths who are in
But
jail
the
like
thing is,
Dahmer.
there's something about them that makes them more interesting, and they didn't do that for Tobias for me. If you read the comics, then you probably got that.
Mhm.
But watching the show, I don't care about this man. He's just a really bad man. Like,
Right.
what?
Well, they definitely kept it. They gave him like 2 notes rather than like a 4 or 5 note personality. This is why I didn't pick him because I do like him as a villain, but they could have took a step further. But he's clearly bad.
Reminds me of,
He's clearly bad.
Yeah,
you know
okay.
who Hicks
Why?
is? Is that what his name is? The white bad guy from.
Which one?
Is
talking about
is that the
Shades
guy
again?
from- No. There is a white Gotham, the bad guy from Gotham. They gave him a heart, y'all. He had one thing that he loved, and I'm telling you, they just gave.
Which
Oh,
one? Because there's a lot of villains there.
Victor Freeze. Victor Freeze.
Not Freeze.
You just love Freeze.
Is his name not
Yes.
Freeze? Like what? I'm
Huh?
not talking about Mr. Freeze.
Are you talking about the Penguin?
No.
Gave him a
I'm
heart.
literally talking about the big guy, the really big guy that
Uh-huh.
had that
Hey.
one girl that he loved.
Bane?
Did y'all watch Gotham?
Yeah, well, they had a lot of characters, and they had a lot of
Yeah.
characters that aren't part of the comic books. And
The first season.
there's like 20,
Big
20 villains in the
macho
first
white
season.
guy. They
Oh, I know
tried
who
to,
she's
like,
talking
shut
about.
down.
They actually made him to Solomon Grundy, but he was a henchman for
Oh, okay. The one that fell in love with the girl? The girl that's like a Catwoman-ish, but she's not Catwoman?
the black girl character.
No, she was white.
Google it.
She was a white
Google it. Google it real quick, because we're running out of time. The show's almost over.
F-I-C-K is what I think his name is.
Google it.
But let me make this one point before we move on.
Yeah.
Right? We're no longer living in these times where we have to hate the villain just because he's bad. We're no longer in that trope. That trope.
No, you could love a no. You could love Jason.
Killmonger.
Jason, perfect example, right? Or Freddy Krueger.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly evil. The point is not but people loved Freddy. It got to the point with the series that people started rooting for Freddy. By the time I think you got to Freddy 3,
right?
But he's clearly evil though.
Yeah, but he had he did have a moral concept. But the thing about it was the stuff that came out of his mouth was comical. So
okay, but you're right. But you're not going against my point.
There's a difference in his personality than just someone that's mad all the time like Tobias. And
you're not going against my point. That's irrelevant to my point. My point is evil. You could still like an evil character, but it's very clear if they're good or evil. In fact, the best villains out of all of Marvel the best heroes out of all of Marvel and all of DC, if you hold on, let me finish. If you look at the best heroes, they all had the best villains going against them. Look, why do people love Superman? Why do people love Batman? Why do people like Spider-Man?
Wait.
They had the best villains.
Wait, Superman didn't always have the best villains.
Say it again?
Superman didn't always have the best villains.
He did not.
No. I'm saying out of all of the universe, out of all the superheroes, the top superheroes tend to have consistently the best villains. And sometimes they shared the villains.
So again,
Batman is Spider-Man, but Superman, no, never.
Exactly.
Brains versus brawn.
All right, give everybody your social media.
Dayveonne Bussey on every social media platform.
Cool.
And the Shamal Williams Show.
Sailor Leone cosplay or Sailor Leone.
I am GT3 on all the things. By the way, Thanos was the worst villain ever, but he was still likable.
Exactly. And
that's only because he's your friend. Michael on Instagram. You're watching GEEKCASTER. Go to geekcaster.com. Please support. Check us out. Hit us up if you have any questions, qualms, all that other good stuff. We're going to start doing some live shows where you can actually access questions while we're doing the show. Yes, we'll do another episode on the Pops. Let's do it.
Support the child. Support the child.